What up, what up, what up? OE Sun in the building, Team Charles, Atlanta, Georgia. And as always, I'm just minding my business. That's all I can do over here in these streets. What up, Darren? How you feeling, King?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
All is well, all is well.
I'm,
Let folks
I'm
know where
coming.
you at, man, and what's your team Zodiac, where you representing today?
Oh man, well I'm in the same place and I'm in the same team I was last time. I'm in UK London, and I'm Team Pisces. Ain't nothing
That's what,
changed,
ain't nothing changed, baby. That's what's up. What mic
but the
you at?
weather.
Last week we gave the family something phenomenal. Today we getting ready to get in here and make it pop about these excellent magic mushrooms and alien ancestors. I wanted to talk about potency, you know what I mean? But I guess
Cool.
potent aliens can all run together. That's why I had this picture up here because I think both of us as educators, we always want to see the best for people. I think sometimes what I'm running into is watching folks um, do a lot of party dosing mushrooms and not using them for real technology. Do you run into that at all? I mean, at being an educator, that's something that you probably run into, like telling people this is to, heal yourself and get yourself together. But have you ever had a class on how to like really pick the mushrooms, like which one is good for you, which one has the most potency?
No, man, not with a focus, but with that said, I just come from a school of thought and educated by the elders that one, you know, basically, there's a generic harvesting time, like when the veil starts to tear away from the underside of the cap. And what that the mushroom at that stage is going into the point where it's going to start releasing its spores. So it's kind of moving into the decline of its existence.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be harvesting then, and not post that time. And I was also taught by the elder Kalindi, those little small mushrooms as well. They work really well. It's like they're more concentrated, so to speak. But I also got by a school of thought is where you got to get in when you fit. You got to just try and test and see what happens when you jump in at the same time. Don't it's not mathematics in the sense of every time you take two or you pick a mushroom that is a particular size or looks a certain way that's going to give you particular results. So you kind of got to yeah go with your your intuitive connections with the technology, and they should communicate with you when's a good time to pick them. Like, I'm ready, man. I'm ready. Come get me.
so like to me,
Whether they're this big, brother, whether they're this big or this big, like
mm,
that's how it was cool. So there you go. Yeah, you see the veil totally removed from the underside of the cap in that picture. So that lets you know it's kind of dropping spores. So it's from that point, pre that point, that's when you want to be harvesting, man, for the virility of what the
would you
life
call
force has to offer in the mushrooms.
would you call this one almost a perfect pick right here?
There you go. That's where we're at, man. That's where we're at. When the veil starts to tear away there, and you're catching it, man. It's like at the peak or getting to that point and just moving over the hill.
Right, 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 right. So for those of you all who are into sex magic and seminal retention, my one of my queens asked me the other day. She said, "Why do the mushrooms have to look like penises?" Darren, have you ever had that question in class? Why do the mushrooms have to look like penises?
I've not had that one, but I come from a community where we always refer to the penis in relationship to the mushroom, and then later on we got terminologies. I don't know. We use a terminology here in the UK called a dickhead. When we call people a dickhead when they're so there's there's this, and then we talk about our big head and our little head and the mushroom head and cap, and the relationship between that is really interesting. It's like polarities, man, polarities,
Absolutely,
the
absolutely.
yin and the yang.
Yeah, big shouts out. We got cats in from all over the world today. Big shouts out to Team Charles in the Bronx. What up, Sunny Nadu? Thanks for coming through today. What up? Free Jasmine. Jasmine in the building. Don't worry about that. She ain't locked up. What up, Team Pisces in Miami? Respect to Ross Guzzy in the building. My man Tyree said, don't sleep on them small ones. That's a phys act.
That's right.
Round of applause.
And let's
And
also just keep in mind in relation to the mushroom, I was taught again by the elder Kalindi, the lower part representing the phallus, but the top part, the cap, representing the feminine aspect of the mushroom, breast or the womb,
mm,
so that's the yin, the yang right there in front of you.
so some people say like the cap is like what gives you the head effect, and the stem what gives you the effect in the body. Is there any truth to that?
I could not tell you through experience itself, man. I was taught you just eat the mushrooms, cap and stem. I was like, is there any difference? I used to ask Colin, he's like, man, just eat the mushrooms, innit? So I just eat the mushrooms. What I do know is when you touch the stem, ultimately I understand we're trying to get access to that psilocybin, man, and the psilocybin's in the stem and the cap too, So I like them both.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. It's what about the tea craze? Is a lot of cats over in London want to do the tea craze, like just making it into a tea versus eating the whole thing.
Yeah, that's so in where I'm at, there's a lot of people who try to find alternative ways of just having a direct relationship with the mushrooms, where you just eat the mushrooms. So you got edibles, teas, smoothies, and I've sampled a few of them when I've been in other circles. And ultimately, yeah, it's just like for me, it's just been different ways that the experience comes on. But you're stepping into the same realm, the same technology ultimately. So yeah, well, rather than I think that's what the technology is, has been really clear to me that you can have a direct relationship. There's no alchemy needed. You don't need to heat it up, chill it, dry
Mm.
it. You don't need to do anything to it. You can pick it and eat it, and it does the work. So I understand that for different techs, there's kind of trying to or supporting making it more potent, the experience, which allows you to kind of have a hit in a shorter space of time,
Mm.
like lemon text and all these other kind of texts, and but I'm a very organic, simple man, so I just eat the mushrooms and keep it moving. But I
Yeah,
know
no.
many others that make up teas and different different substances, man. Pizzas, people put them on pizzas and stuff.
I ain't never done the pizza. I just like eating them. I like just to get the raw experience. All that other fancy stuff, like you said. What you say? We low tech kings. Just let me come in with the low
Yeah,
tech.
there you go, there you go.
Big shouts out to Sister Mawu Natir. My baby's been in the fruit chamber for 5 days and she penning. Big ups, big ups, big ups yourself, big
Yeah,
ups.
that's sexy, man.
What up, Warren,
Yeah.
Michigan? Somebody says, how do you find access to them? Queen Ascendi. We both were taught by a brother, Baba Kalinde, grow your own. Like that is the most guaranteed way because you know what the energy is. After that, you probably want to know. I want to know the energy of like where something came from. Like, would you date somebody and you wouldn't ask about their background? You want to be like, hey, where'd they come from or stuff like that. So for
Mm,
me, I want to know like, we were talking to somebody last night and they was like, yeah, we went in on 20 grams and was like, oh, what strand was it? He was just like, I don't know. The guy just had a lot of them and just gave them to me and I took them. I said, you took 20 grams, you ain't checked to see the lineage on it? Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Like, this ain't secondhand clothes, y'all. That's why we're talking about
mm.
it, and especially in the situation of today's topic, your alien ancestors. Thanks everybody for sharing this video too. Please press 2 if you share this video on Facebook. Also, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and share this thing on your Instagram or your Twitter. Let's get this news out here. I got we all the way across the pond bringing y'all this hot info about the magic mushrooms and your alien ancestors. And yes, we are taking Q&A all day today. And as I always say, I'm absolutely certain, Queen, that somebody is in your area who has, what I'm saying, who you probably like 3 feet away from somebody who already got some. You just probably ain't looking the right way. So if you hit me up with an email, I might know somebody in your town because the movement is happening. This whole decrim nature and people coming into their own, wanting to like, we grow fresh vegetables, we grow lemons, we grow pears, we grow rosemary, we grow potatoes and carrots. Why we can't have our own alien ancestors in the building? Darren, let's talk about this title, man. What's up with the alien ancestors? Why do you call the mushrooms the alien ancestors?
Because that's what they are, man. And like it's just kind of resonating recently simply because of workshop as well as a article that I was supporting writing or journal, and it was just looking at the origins of mushrooms, full stop. Just where the mushrooms come from, and the science as well as the mythology of mushrooms suggests that they're alien in the sense of that they're not from Earth originally, like
Mm.
many other elements we find on Earth. According to science nowadays as well, it's supporting that. So if you look at the science side of it, people want to just get the references. You can look into what's known as panspermia.
Mm.
The science of particles and elements from space, finding themselves somewhere or another on larger bodies that can migrate their way into our solar system and to Earth, things like asteroids and meteorites and stuff
Spell
like
that
that.
word
So you
again.
got
Spell that word again. Let me go look it up. Spell that word.
panspermia. You got it, bro. Pansperm.
SPERM.
You got it.
Mm. Life exists throughout the universe, distributed by space dust, meteoroids, asteroids, comets, planetoids, and also by spacecraft carrying
Yes.
unintended contamination by what? Microorganisms.
Right. So,
Holy shucks.
so yeah, science is suggesting that these organisms that we would refer to here as spores in relationship to mushrooms, you know, basically, got hijacked their way, got a lift. What do you call it? Hiking, not hiking. You pull over cars for a lift. You
Hitchhike,
jump in and
hitchhike,
get a ride to
hitchhike,
planet.
yeah,
Hitchhike,
hitchhike.
that's it. Hitchhike, yeah, man. They hitchhike to ride to Earth. According to science. Like just it's the way things happen. But mythology also suggests that there's connections with mushrooms and unseen forces or organisms that are alien, not from Earth, that started the creation or process for Earth becoming what it is today.
Mm.
But brother, sorry, I'm gonna have to just give me 30 seconds for a technical dip. Hold on.
Go ahead, take your time, take your time. I'm gonna talk to the audience for a second and see what
Oh,
y'all got going on. What up, fam? How y'all feeling? Thank you, Lynn, for sharing. What up, Venus, goddess of love? I am Venus. I am. What team? What's your team zodiac? Who are you? Much respect to the medicine and the insight it brings. Absolutely. I want to grow my own. How do I do it? If you need any information concerning growing your own mushrooms and also like who's in your town that may have access to it, just send me an email at oyesun88 at gmail. oyesun88 at gmail. Do I have my? I don't know if I have my. Let me see. Can I find my? Find my email. I can put up here for y'all real quick. Ah, there we go. Yeah, just send your that wasn't I meant not the ticker. Ah, there we go. Yeah. Just send me an email send me an email address about your grow kits because we do have a video of Baba Kalindi teaching how to grow your own, all the supplies you need, all of that. Do I need some more light on my face? I'm a little dark. Hold on for a second. Let me get myself together. Oh. Yeah, that's much better. I am chocolate, but I ain't that chocolate. Alright, Team Pisces in the building. You studying the shrooms right now? Okay, okay, okay. Soul in the house. Peace to the God. Blessings, blessings, knowledge born. How you feeling? Interested in finding out where I can get them in my area. I'm in Metro Atlanta. What's your email, please? Oh, and you Venus? That rules Taurus. Of course you know you can. I'm gonna find somebody for you somewhere. Also, we got my man Darren LeBaron in the building. Y'all make sure y'all jump on that website all day. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. You getting this information firsthand. Brother need the follows. He got the you got the master class coming up too. I got to plug that before we get all up into this discussion. Like, and
Oh,
you had
nice
the
one, bro.
video. You had the video the other day. The interview. You had the interview with who was that you was chopping it up with?
Oh, the got Kush TV brothers. Is that here? Yeah. Got Kush TV, man. Yeah, that's my UK fam.
Y'all look like y'all up to something. I just want to just say that before you even tell me what this conversation was up to. Just the look in the eyes. I want to be a part of the conversation before the camera started rolling. When y'all was over
Yeah,
there
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
mushrooms built the pyramids. Oh man, what? So
Yeah,
yes,
bro. So
basically
we
y'all look. Y'all go to Linktree. Y'all see my man got the menu. Bam, masterclass, mushroom cultivation. You can get it right there. You also can get the YouTube, the exclusive interviews. Bam. He only got 728 subscribers, y'all. We can do better than that. Let's get this man to 1,000. We can get him to 1,000 a day. That's easy. Everybody get over to Darren LeBaron. He got 728 subscribers.
nice one, bro.
That's how you gonna find him. You're gonna find him by saying he doesn't have enough subscribers. That's the guy. Of course, Lotus. And then the sister, she just hit me up with some good stuff. Okay, let's get back into the game, man. So you got this going on here. You got the Shroom Shot Pro 4-week advanced mushroom cultivation course, right? Tell me about this.
Yeah, man. So that's just for anyone who's ready to take their mushroom cultivation to the next level. As you know, brother, I'm like the low tech king, supporting people to get cultivation going at home with resources that you've got around, creating your home lab, your home setup, the things you have around rather than having to consume and buy resources that cost you money because mushroom cultivation should be free and is free when you know how to be resourceful. You might have to make a small investment, initially if you don't have particular things around you. But as long as you've got pots and pans, you get hold of some bottles and buckets and things like that, glasses, and you know access to fire and water, you can get this cracking. So that's what the workshop is about. The beginners workshop I usually do is basically sharing the PF tech, some real low tech, simple processes in getting you in the door. The Shroom Shot Pro is when we start getting into grain. We look at coir, we look at making your own tubs and stuff like that.
Mm,
Using misters and fans,
mm,
things like that, just upping your game slightly and making more
mm,
automated systems. So we're doing it over 4 weeks, on a Monday, Mushroom Mondays, starting January
mm.
the 11th. And nice. Boyaka.
Yeah. Now, why should people watch this mushrooms built pyramids? I want this. I want this part for me now. Tell me. I mean, we're talking about ancient aliens and we're talking about mushrooms built pyramids. What kind of black dude from the UK goes on Got Kush TV, and talk about mushrooms built the pyramids, man? You gonna have to explain yourself.
Yeah, well, man, I'm gonna have to keep bringing up the elder, Kalindi. He just laid the game down, man. He just laid the game down, and he reaffirmed what I already knew, but gave affirmations. It's funny because on that post today, in fact, somebody put, yeah, mushrooms were built by the mind, and I liked it, and I says, "You sure it wasn't aliens?" We hear a
Hmm.
lot about aliens building the pyramids and stuff, and when we think of aliens, now we know that spores, mycelium, are alien. They're not from Earth. They're alien technology. And then when you understand the consciousness behind the mushroom experience and what it inspires, what the technology inspired, the blueprints and the maps, you understand that, yeah, alien technology inspired the building of the pyramid.
Mm.
As Linde and others and myself teach and share, the Hemite kingdom, and queendom was built on mushroom and psychedelic technologies, man, getting into altered states of consciousness. That's primarily what the mystery system was about. And mushrooms played a big part in that.
Uh, all y'all gotta do is type in Metu Netter, Kalinda EE, Secrets of the Metu Netter and Magic Mushrooms. Click this right here, and you can get your whole head peeled back. You can take you a nice little microdose. All you gotta do is hit this button right here, and we ain't gonna talk you to death. Like this is our teacher, okay? Darren, we've been studying with him longer, but in this 3 hour right here, this 3 hour lecture, 2 hours and 57 minutes, you're gonna get that work, okay? So I know a lot of y'all like Metu Netter. Yes. How does it come
Yeah,
off the wall? How does it come off the
DVD,
wall?
the
You know,
DVD.
the DVD version. Yeah, I'd be interested to evaluate the differences between those cultivated in nature versus indoor. That's called being a citizen scientist.
Yeah.
That's what Moodoo calls that, being a citizen scientist, right? Because as a citizen scientist, now you got your own, you collecting your own data, working on yourself, and you know it firsthand. It's not even a game no more. Is the fungus from magic mushroom good to grow with or use as food for ganja? And do you think it can give ganja the same effects? Wow. Darren, this is you right here. I'm gonna let you handle this one.
Yeah. So how you're gonna connect the mushrooms or the mycelium to the ganja? With my growing knowledge, I've never applied it myself. Would be, to weave that mycelium into the soil. That you're cultivating the ganja in or the compost. You can do that in different ways. The mycelium itself might not take because it's not a soil loving mycelium. It's not a mycorrhizal mycelium, but at the same time, you can make compost from your mycelium, cakes and grains and stuff. Make compost from it and use that to feed your plant, so to speak. So these would be ways that I would approach it if I was trying to apply the technology in that way. But it's just
Mm.
about being creative. Like I don't know. And just like you answered with the last sister, I believe, as far as, this goes back to the research, being independent researchers and would you call it citizen scientists?
Citizen scientist. I got that from
Yeah,
Moodoo.
man. And then as long as we're all collecting our data and our files, because my experience is different from yours, whether I try mushrooms from outside or inside, it doesn't really matter about that to you. It's like what happens to you is what's important when you take it inside and outside. And as a collective consciousness, we collect that data and get, access to more information to your experiences too, so to speak. So yeah, we need more independent researchers from the navigators as well as the cultivators. All of these new techs that we're into and stuff and trying out are just from people who have tried their alchemy, applied their alchemy and things worked and they share it. Other people give testimony to that and it becomes a thing. So if you now are able to weave that mycelium or mushroom compost into the plants in some way, you've got this hybrid. I'm sure people will take to it, man. Like you've got something there, bro.
My thing is, my understanding of the question is, can you get the same effects if you are growing? Can you get the same effects from the ganja that you're going to get from the mushrooms? And I feel, I haven't tried it, but I feel that, um, just as hypothetical, no, you're not gonna be able to smoke weed and get the effect the mushrooms have. You may enhance it because of what you got in the soil composition, because you are what you eat, and the ganja is eating that. But you're not gonna blow no trees and get the same effect as a 7 gram trip. Okay, it ain't happening. Now you can drop 7 grams and then blow some trees, and you can come back and be like, then you blended them, because that's where I'm at. Not even necessarily an argument, but my thing is, I was explaining. Okay, so a lot of people do magic, so let's just pretend that this is a magic wand, all right, or these are Yiming Jus, right, or you have amulets. The body is not meant to hold a lot of things. That's why you always go into the bathroom. Stuff is supposed to pass through you. You're supposed to get the nutrients from it, and you're supposed to pass on what is not for you to hold all the time. So you can't hold all of your sexual experiences with people together. You can't hold all of your sorrow inside of you. Your body's not built like that. You're supposed to release it, whether it's urination, defecation, cord cutting, mental breakdown. You have a mental breakdown because you are overloading the system. But you can have a tool that can hold it, and that's what magical tools are. So just like the ganja and the mushrooms, 6 hours, 8 hours maybe tops, and then guess what? You don't get up feeling drunk or hungover. You get up with these fresh memories, and now it's time for you to go activate and do something throughout the day. And then when you want to access that realm again, you go pick up the technology. If I want to shine light, I'm gonna go turn this flashlight on, right? If I want to start doing that, and then I'm finished with it, I turn it off and put it down. I have a wand upstairs. I don't use the wand every day, but when I do use it, it's storing energy, just like crystals. Crystals are storing energy. These, like Baba said, the mycelium and the magic mushrooms have stored technology that is coming from transdimensional space before time, before there was consciousness. Because consciousness, we still making definitions of consciousness, but you can't make a definition of magic. And that's where he says we come from. We come from before time, before there was a construct of consciousness. And it's supposed to be awakening us. And then we can get out of the scary box and start doing what the ancient ones was doing when we start doing what the ancient ones were doing. But the ancient ones weren't like mixing it. The ancient ones was like, let me get the mushrooms. What happened next? Pyramid here, pyramid in Mexico, pyramid in China. Oh, they're all on the same ley line too? That's very interesting, Darren. How the hell did the ancient alien get all these big ass pyramids with these big ass blocks with no helicopters and no heavy material, and all of a sudden it is perfect, lined up with certain constellations in the sky? Darren, I'm gonna need you to help me figure this out. You gotta help me figure this out, bro.
Yeah, I'm here trying to figure it out too, brother, man. But the closest I get to it and understanding, sciences is that there's a lot to do with this technology that we're here discussing today, man. The mushrooms and getting into altered states of consciousness that allowed us to come up with principles like as above, so below, as within, so without. So by the studying of the stars, the heavens, we was able to manifest things here on earth. How did we access the heavens, whether it's the physical heavens or these heavens here, the consciousness, the mind, and using the tools that allow you to navigate your mind and pull down those files. I think, as you learn to navigate in these spaces, you see that there's a lot. I was talking today with a brother, was talking about swings and roundabouts and slides. Where do you think those things come from, and you can experience those things in the entheogenic realms, and understand once again that the blueprints of things that we use here for fun and play, as well as technology that we use to heal, a lot of these blueprints came from, these unseen worlds that the ancestors were delving into, man, and accessing through different rites, but the technology was there to access those spaces.
Somebody was asking how to get in contact with Darren. Y'all can either go through his hit him up on Instagram, or you can hit him up on the website. One of my things that I'm irritated about, King Man, is how we as a culture want shortcuts. Like we really just want we really, this microwave society, we really want to take shortcuts. And that was remember like, yeah, I won't talk about aliens, but then I'm really getting a little salty about people talking about potency of mushrooms and how penis envy must be the most potent mushroom because it's the biggest. And everybody says, like, if you take 3, that's the same equivalent as 6, and if you take 5, that's equivalent of 10. Who said it? Who said it? And how is their body made up like your body or anybody else's body? What happened to strong and mighty? And when you type in penis envy, this is the part I wanted to show people too. I'm getting ready to get crazy right here. I'm getting ready to get crazy. Watch this. So we're just gonna play a game, right? Watch this. Penis envy, right? Mushrooms. 2,200,000. Look how many joints came back, right? All these, Now watch this. Let's type in Tamarian. Tamarian blue mushroom. Nothing. You see that? It says 4 million, but ain't nothing got Tamarian blue. Those are not Tamarian blue. Those are nice mushrooms, though. They're nice and Lacterius indigo. Now that would be Darren and Paul Stamets would be explaining what these Latin terms is. That's over my head. But look, I don't see anything. I don't see anything that's talking about the Tamarian blue. And if I take mushroom off the end, you really ain't gonna see nothing because there's so many strands out here that nobody's ever even tried before. They're still being discovered, just like entities in the bottom of the ocean are still being discovered daily.
Sure, sure, sure.
So
Well, you know,
go ahead, go ahead.
I've come from that place, bro. You know, trying to inquire and find out, and you know, at those early stages, I was, you know, again, I'm just, you know, quoting what I was taught by the elder Kalindi when I was asking me same questions. You know, like, just take the mushrooms and eat them, and you know, that's what happens. You know. So with that said, again, you can have the same mushrooms, different dosages, different times. They all have different kind of effects, and over a period of time, you learn how to navigate those experiences. So again, I was told that here in the UK, we've got indigenous mushrooms known as the Liberty Cap, and
Mm,
they said that they are more potent than the Cubentus.
mm,
And so I've had the Liberty Caps and I've had the Cubentus, and for me, they were bringing me to the same places and spaces, slightly different signatures within the experience itself. But ultimately, like, what are you doing? You're accessing your psyche, your DNA, your the crystal. You're talking about the crystals, the information and the data that it holds. It's allowing you to access the crystals inside of you, where you've got the data and information in your blood. There's crystals in your blood. That's
mm.
where you're going in to get that information and data. So whether it's penis envy, whether it's Mexican, whether it's Cambodian, I'm happy to apply the technology and just see how that experience comes out. And if I feel, okay, Mexican are doing this for me different from something else on that particular occasion, I want to do that work that the Mexican mushroom works, you know, gives me, then that's what I would work with, you know. And everybody's just got to kind of work this out for themselves and don't follow the trend. As Belinda, I'm saying, just praising you, say it's all big business, man. They've got all the different names up there, you know, and the brands at these sites, but it's business at the end of the day. So,
Mm.
you know, keep that in mind. And when you're out there, you know, talking to people who have got a business that's telling you which are the best sports to buy and this, that, and the other. And if you do, you try it and see for yourself. And I think it goes back to that citizen scientist, independent researcher angle, man. And as I tell my people in my workshops, don't listen to what I say. I was going out, listening to loads of cultivators, and they was telling me what to do, what not to do. And a lot of what they told me what not to do wouldn't work. I tried and it worked.
Mm, mm.
So, you know, it's just about, yeah, experimenting to see what works for you.
You was kicking that science to me the other day about like the frequency of your domain, your crib. You know what I'm saying? Like at your house, you may be in a particular basement, and then you giving me advice for what worked in the basement, but I may stay on the third floor. I got a
That's for
different
sure.
environment. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's
And
right.
you may be in Hawaii where it's never under 74 degrees and it's never above 87 degrees. And now you got that going on. Or you may be in Jacksonville, Florida, where it's a lot of thunder and lightning. And now you telling everybody like, I'm telling you, this is the best grow technique ever. Bro, you got lightning outside, you got thunder outside, and they love thunder. Oh, Darren, watch this. I love sharing stuff live. Y'all just listening in. We are talking about ancient aliens. We're gonna get to that, and we're gonna take this other question too. So, Darren, you do know that they like mushrooms as they grow. They love lightning flashes. You go and check your mushrooms the next day after a thunderstorm, and they done went crazy like you pulled some steroids on them. So
Hmm.
today, everybody's talking about this 1221. All especially the non-astrologers. I'm just like, my God, I've never seen so many non-astrologers talk about my science ever. I mean, what's always happening, right? It is a big occasion, but a lot of people talking, they don't know what they're talking about. That's fine. People sending me stuff. I'm just like, stop sending me this. But the eclipse that we had this morning, I wonder how that affects the mushroom. And we right in the middle of one of the like biggest coronal solar flares that's been going on for like 2 weeks. So it's these solar flares going on, and it's in the eclipse, and Jupiter and Saturn is moving into a whole nother dimension when they move over into Aquarius. Have you done any research on that? Past the lightning with just like eclipse mushrooms. That's what I should call them, eclipse mushrooms. Hmm.
So the line was cutting up there, bro, but I think I've got the gist of what you were saying. And see, I'm not going to be one of those guys sending you information about that which I don't know. So that's not my technology, man. Like I'm privy to it to a certain degree, but it's not my field where I've really gone in and aligned things up in that way. But I always tell people, like we spoke the last time, like if that's your technology, if you work with astrology, if you work with tarot, if you work with yoga, if you work with martial arts, whatever you're working with, whatever your technology is, like line it up with the organic mushroom technology and start, mapping out, the experiences that you may have under the influence, like low dose, high dose, cultivating it. These are all things that we should be approaching. So I know that we're in a crucial time based on alignments and stuff like that. But yeah, I operate off different technology that works for me, and I
Well,
plug into people like yourself and
well,
those who know and are privy to that knowledge
I'm gonna show you how
to
you.
fill me in on that. So
No,
I'm hoping that you can fill me in, bro.
I'm gonna show you how to do the low tech on it. If you growing mushrooms and y'all arguing in the house, do you think the mushrooms could pick up the arguing and the dissension in the vibration of the house?
For shizzle.
If you growing mushrooms in your house and you play a bunch of Jamaican music and you roster music and you're feeling good and everybody around there dancing and children are dancing, you think those mushrooms gonna pick up that vibe?
Sure, man. It's the
So
Bluetooth, it's the Wi-Fi.
uh, uh, he almost caught me. He almost caught me, but I was ready. He almost caught me because I was leaning to the left. If I lean to the right, I can get to it faster. You know what I'm saying? But he dropped a bomb on us right there. The mushrooms is the Wi-Fi. Hold on, man. Before I get into that, I'm gonna hold that. Somebody had a question. I want to get this sister in, and she said, wait, she was asking about the um, when is the best time to take mushrooms? Meditation or before sleep? Oh, that's James West. Wow.
Okay. So before sleep is not yeah, it's not one of the you may feel like you want to go to sleep or sleepy, but yeah, you wouldn't want to take them before going to sleep because you're going to sleep on the experience or you're not going to go to sleep. you know but meditation pre or post or while you're on or in meditating, all of those tools like are viable tools to experiment with, man. So me myself and I have done all of that. I've meditated pre, during and post the experience to see
Mm.
what kind of experiences I have off the back of that, man. And then you try at lower doses and higher dosages and to see what I want.
Mm. Mm. Citizen scientist, y'all. You need to be asking about how can I be a better citizen scientist, and you got to keep going. You can't just go one time and get all the answers. That's what I call him. I ain't been enough time where I have all the answers. It's about getting the experts. Um,
Far
I
from an expert though, bro. Appreciate that, man.
yeah. Been studying
yeah,
with Clinton since she was 4 years old. You know what I'm saying? I just met him yesterday. So
I wish, man. I wish. But yeah,
um,
man.
what up,
Um,
Team Virgo in New York? I gotta get Darren's info. Good. I've been cultivating for a year now. Big shouts out. Who's cultivating on here? Everybody, press one if you are cultivating, and press two if you shared the video, and of course press 12 if you shared the video and you're cultivating, and press 1, 2, 3 if you follow Darren on either Instagram or social or YouTube to get his folks up. Facts. Me and my folks had the same convo. We grow ganja, but totally different. He does things I don't do, and it works for him, but not me.
there you
Damn.
go.
Yeah. Sounds like what? Sounds like some get right, some mushroom get right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You get an explosion. You you get an explosion. You get some horns.
Right.
All right, let's get back to these aliens, man. Oh wait. I'm always gotta. Y'all catching it? Well, I gotta tune Darren into this new joint we doing. So Darren, check the screen out, right? So remember I told you that we was getting down with the Stanford professor,
Yo, yeah.
and he had this program called Journey Between Us, right? So the KI network has joined forces with this brother, and he has given us 200. This particular program is an 8-week program. We're on week 5. You and your partner, your study partner, or your accountability partner that you would meet through the site, go in on a dosage. So there's week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. On week 5, you
Okay.
go in, and then there's an integration, and all the data is recorded. Out of all the things that you post on Instagram about all the data, has anybody collected any data on folks that look like us?
Not as I understand it, man. The closest we've got to that, I understand, is again on your side of the water with Sister Monica. Who done the MDMA trials? With
Mm,
Naps
mm.
did the MDMA and done it with people of African American descent. So they've got some data over there, man. They've got a little bit of data over there. Monica Williams, yeah, Monica Maps,
She's with Maps,
yeah.
psychedelic medicine, Monica Williams. Bam, bam.
In MDMA trials, MDMA or something, yeah, yeah. You should see some specific it was called like MDMA race trauma trials. Yeah,
Mm, 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 mm. Race-based trauma. There we go. We got a little something right here.
there you go.
Big shouts out to Monica Williams. Tell her we're trying to holler. I need her on the show. Post-traumatic stress disorder in minorities. This is something that we was talking about because there's post-traumatic stress disorder, but then there's also persistent traumatic stress existence. Like it ain't over for some black folks. Like some black folks is constantly getting bombarded with traumatic stress. There is no post-traumatic. Some of us haven't got the post-traumatic yet. Where's the treatment for those who haven't got? Darren always talking about how his homeboys is motivating him to be like, yo, we trying to get up out the stress like right now. So, Money Love, what up? That's your name? Did you write this? I know, but if it was you, we would definitely have your ass on here like right now. Somebody said Annie Osaru said he took mushrooms before sleep and he saw Nima. Amen. Yeah, but we don't know how many he took. See, that's the other thing when people talk about I took some mushrooms. What strand of mushrooms was it? How much did you take? Like if you took a microdose and lay down and went to sleep, then that's okay.
Yeah,
Somebody
so I've
talk.
done that. I've done that too. So again, it's like, what is the technology, you're trying to get out of it, man, ultimately, so it might be like, I'm wondering, do mushrooms help me with my dreams, retain dreams? Do they help with, that side? Like, I don't know. Well, let me try it out. I know that if I take 7 grams, I'm not going to sleep.
Nah.
Like, that, so I'm not going, I'm going to take microns to see, yeah, just explore, man.
Man, talk about that for a second. Like microdosing before you go to sleep. I haven't tried that. What's been your experience?
Yeah, in all honesty, I didn't gain any benefits from having a more in-depth dream state, whether that was lucid or vivid, from my experience. What I have found is that the daytime microdose supports more my nighttime abilities than me doing it at nighttime. So that's just my
Hmm.
experience. Yeah,
Hmm.
at times, I don't know. I can't really, sometimes, I have seasons where like I struggle with getting a good night's sleep. I'm just active. I'm just up. I've got to get to sleep, and I'm just not ready to get to sleep. I've got to force myself to sleep at times, and then it might offset my drink, my sleep pattern. And once I get back on the daily, microdose type vibe, it just helps with that reset too. That effect that supports me in the latter stages, and I like to have like a good dream or two. You know what I'm
he
saying?
said he said or two. There's a whole bunch of travels going on. What's up, Christy? Chrissy creates. When you say where can I get mushrooms, we want to ask you what do you want to do with them. That's another topic I want to cover today. We just said magic mushrooms are ancient aliens. Do you want to play with the alien or do you want to go get some technology? Darren, how do you address people who just like have not? Well, last night the brother was like, "Man, I need to get a couple grams from somewhere," and I was just like, "Man, why you only want 4 grams? You got to go all the way in." But then he was like, "Well, I've taken 20 before," and then we was like, "Oh, well then it's okay if you want to dabble around because you've already been to the mountaintop." You know what I'm saying? So if you just only want to take 4, or you want to hang outside and just do 3.5, that's fine. But what about people who have never been to the mountaintop and they're always just trying to get the giggles and bubbles? What do you like? What's your advice to your students?
Yeah, man. Like again, I come from how I was taught, man. Like, I just tell people get in where you fit, man. I understand not everybody's trying to get to the top of the mountain, bro. You know, those are people who I roll with, those who are trying to get to the top of the mountain. But some people, you know, it's like rock climbing, or you know, like Kalindi would break down how far out in the ocean do you want to swim? You know,
Hmm.
sometimes it's cool to hang right by the shore. You know, just get your feet in and get your feet wet. But you can get into deep space, you know, out there, and that's not like. And if it comes to the ocean, I'm not that guy. You know, I'm gonna stay right by the shore when it comes to the water. But in that space, yeah, so I understand that it's not for everybody to go that depth. So I just support people and then getting in the door. My main thing is getting them in the door first and foremost, and sharing with them two things. So how I do with my students is like what you need to be doing is you're gonna do it the first time. If you feel it the first time, then do it at least 3 times. Each time increasing your dosage. If you get to the third time and you feel like this is for you, this is the path, then you need to start growing your own technology. But prior to that, you want to may need to access. Don't commit to the grow just yet. If you take that first go, you might be like, do you know what? This is not, this isn't my path. And I've had that. I've had people return things, you know, like nah, yeah. And if they had went out and got the pressure cooker and got the stuff, it's like, yeah. So like jumping a few times, and then I believe the technology lets you know that now's your time to start cultivating. Now's your time to go a bit deeper. And most people that I work with, they come out the first time, it's like, yeah. If I suggested, well, you know, five get the wheels turning. You know, five is the heroic dosage. What's it gets the wheels turning? You can step in there. But most people, I see it today, are just like, nah, I want to squat my way in slowly. They want to start at 1.5 and 2 grams. I'm like, look, that's what makes you feel comfortable. Start there. But most people I know that start there, they then come out of the experience, say, I need to do more. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So, but I allow them to have that experience, though. And sooner or later, they come back to me and say, I'm ready a 5, a 7, a 10, a 15, or whatever it is. And just everybody makes their way as far up the mountain, so to speak, at their own pace.
This is the other thing about aliens. You ain't gonna never learn everything from them. Like the lessons is gonna come on a daily basis. So I was talking to Mama Ayana this weekend about starting people off at 6 grams. So I was
Shout out
like,
to Mama Ayana.
big shouts out, big shouts out, big shouts out, big shouts out. Holding space. She the holding space master. I went and talked to the legend. I talked to the legend Peter Andreas today, and we were just talking some strategy and like for holding space. Because I used to sit for people, and I mean, up until recently, and I would be in the same room with them. And she was like, nah, I don't do that no more. She was just like, when you sit for people, do not be in the room unless you've had some technology yourself. So, like now, if I'm in the room, I might be on 2 grams while you on your first 5 or something like that. But a person in the room can be very distracting. And I remember maybe like the second person I sat for, she was like, I want to bring my girlfriend over because, you know, she just wants to like experience it with me. I was like, is she taking any mushrooms? She was like, nah. So she took the mushrooms, and then her girlfriend was laying in the bed with her, and they were just sitting there giggling and talking like they normally do. And so I told her
Mm.
girlfriend, I was like, hey, yo, she in another place than you. Her giggles is coming from you. You laughing at her, but you're not laughing for what she laughing at. You just laughing because you think she funny. Now she just extra funny. And then I had to be like, yo, stop talking to her. You know what I'm saying? And so, for those of you who are going to be visiting me in 2021 and I'll be sitting for you, I won't be holding your hand. And it ain't going to be a whole bunch of conversations. And my job is to make sure that I assist you going into the alone, right? And reminding you why you're there. Because sometimes you can be in that space and then you can forget why what your intentions were. The sitter can sometimes just remind you of what your intentions were, why you went in,
Mm.
versus
Guiding
trying.
you.
Yeah. I'm not here to guide you. I ain't here to hold your hand, and I'm not trying to put some Florida water on you and tell you, you know what I'm saying, that the spirit is upon you. And I'm not here to tell you none of that, man. Like we not experts, but we gonna make sure that the external boogeyman in your personal environment don't run up on you. And we took your telephone and your keys, so you don't call your Christian grandmother and tell her that you are God. I realized that I'm God, grandmother. Grandmother, you didn't tell me that I'm God. Yeah, I'm on these mushrooms. Where are you, baby? Then she ping your phone and then show up at the spot, and the vibe ain't right. So that's another sound right there. We call that. That's a sad trombone. We don't want that to happen.
Yeah, man. So that's why, it's suggested, on those at least your first 3 times with your sitter, not to guide. That's what they do. Like as I share with others that support other people who are doing it, it's like, man, your job is to be not present. That's what your
Mm.
job is, inconspicuous. You only come into the fold if you're pulled in by, hey, that person who's in is requesting something or another. Even a lot of times, someone will be in and people might be like, oh, hey, are you okay over there? And that in itself is pulling people out of the experience. Like, so it's like your job is to say nothing unless they say to you, hey, I want to talk, I want to check in with you, I need to evaluate this. It's like, all right, cool. And after those few minutes, it's like, maybe you want to go back into the room now and be by yourself and just support in that and then silence. Yeah, man.
For me, you're gonna activate me if you say I'm thirsty. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm hot or I'm cold. Those are
Mm.
things I'm responding to with me interacting with you. But all that, am I okay? That's just a trick to try to get me to say something because you want to be grounded. Listen, when you don't take mushrooms, like everybody watching this right now who's not on mushrooms, you're as grounded as you're gonna get. Why take the mushrooms to get high so you can look down and see the situation and then ask somebody to ground you? You wasting your money and your time and your effort. That's counterproductive. If you go ahead and take it, that's like, oh man, almost like an abortion. You said you want a baby. You go over here and fell in love with this man or this woman. Then you get pregnant, and then around the 3rd month, you talking about you want to change your mind. You got to go on through with that now. So it's the same thing. Don't abort your experience. Just go ahead and go on in. But so many of us are. Voodoo says it great. People can't spend six minutes alone with themselves, much less when they inside of reality or they're outside of this illusion, and they can't spend, like, ugh, that was crazy. Um, the guy Body Knowledge Born said, "What is your experience on pan? What is that? Sciences? How you pronounce that?"
And they're another, yeah, man. So I think they might be indigenous where you guys are at, but we'll go find them where we are too in the UK. They're a wood loving psilocybin containing mushroom as well. And once again, it suggests that they are more potent than the conventional strain. I've had the opportunity to try them, just like with the cats that grow in business in the UK. And once again, it's just technology, man, with slightly different signatures. Once again, for me, that is just, for me, how the effect comes on physically may feel different, the sensations may feel different, but the principles of what and how it moves me through the experience stay the same. You know,
Mmm.
and what I've gathered at low dosages, lower dosages, because some are more potent than others to some degree, you can take a lower dose and be like, whoa, like, I'm catching a wave, I'm catching a wave out here. But once you push, once you're in that 5, 7, 9, 10, and go in that direction, that I found that the slight variations of the mushrooms have not been extreme. So wow, totally, these are really stronger and are really different from these ones. But not necessarily like that one.
Mm. Have you experienced penis envy as well?
I haven't. I haven't,
What?
Like
Damn.
I'm like a real, I say like real simple, low tech thing. I found more strains that work for me in my environment. It's like they've been doing the job. So unless somebody gifted me some scores or I'm not out trying to find them. They find me now.
Mm.
Cambodian, Mexican. There's a few others. I've got a family that I work with, and like yeah, I'm cool with those guys.
Let it come to you, family. Pick up the jewels that the brother is laying down. Are you picking up what he's putting down? It ain't always about, like, notice why did this particular strand find you, right? But there's nothing wrong with experimentation because I'm sure, like you said, if somebody gifted him 5 grams of PE, he gonna be like, "Well, thank you very much. We're gonna try these bad boys out, and I'll get right back to you. We're gonna experiment." Because I'm like that. Somebody gave me some PE. I don't know, maybe 6, 7 months ago. They still chilling. I ain't even got to them yet. Because I'm really happy with the family that I already have that has been attracted to me. They chose me, and I'm loyal. But it's not like I'm not gonna, go outside. Mushrooms ain't like people. Oh, you cheated on me because you tried another mushroom. Nah, they ain't. They're not stressed. They all fungi. They all family. And guess what? The first 3 letters of fungi is what? Fun. Why y'all ain't trying to have no fun? I can just imagine, man, like being an ancient Kemet, or being being a Mayan, or being in China, or being like the ninja who, he found this mushroom that birthed martial arts, and
mm,
and
mm,
and,
mm.
and the fun he must have had, because one thing we know, I wasn't there, but I know his ass had the giggles. He had the giggles first. He had to go through the giggles before he got the technology. Darren, what do you think? Did he get the giggles?
Yeah, oh yeah, man, yeah, man. The giggles, the yawns. There's certain cycles, certain loops that come up that you go through. That I think open up more experiences, man. They open up more experiences. The giggle is one, just that sometimes there's something that's funny, and sometimes you don't know what you're laughing at, man. You just got that
Mm,
thing, and some people will say it's a release, or some people say you're suppressing, or you're covering up with the laughter, so only you know.
right,
That's
right.
only you really know, and so whether you're hiding and you're nervous and you're giggling and laughing because of that, and that's what the experience opens you up to. And eventually it goes back to that alone of the alone, like when you're doing it by yourself and the giggles with someone else, it's like, am I laughing because there's someone else in the room? But when you're by yourself and you're laughing and you're in the fits, it's like, what's all that about? And
Mm.
I just say, yeah, explore it, man. And I mean, yeah, the pendulum swings, man. So many nights initially I had the giggles, and every now and then they still come up. I find things, whether that's just my own existence is hilarious, that I still think I'm a human living out, it's like just, the giggles and at myself, or just, still buying into some of the illusions, it's like you've got to be able to laugh at yourself as well. So there's different ways that the giggles kind of manifest in my experiences, as well as
Mm.
laughing at people in the room. Like, I had an experience where I was homies, and like they were all nervous. I could feel their nervousness, and it was just making me laugh. It's like, no, but like you, I'm like, relax, man. I'm like, you can relax. It's like, and then, it's just like, and it just gave me the giggles, that something triggered that, and and it helps them relax. It helped for them to relax also in that regard. So
When you do group journeys, what is like what's like the
yeah,
top
man,
number? I said, when you do group journeys, what's the top? What's the most people that you? What's the most people? I ain't gonna ask you what's the most people that you have done. That because then somebody that's not comparing. But what would you suggest if you were going on a group trip? Would be the most people participate in a group trip?
So for me, it would be based upon again intentions. Like, why are you tripping? So me personally, if you're asking me, I like that alone trip. And it doesn't always have to be in the darkness, the alone. But I just like tripping alone. Like, I really gain more from that than any other experiences that I have. And then
Mm.
when I choose to engage with me plus more than one other person, it's like really key people around me. I work with on that level where I understand I'm opening myself as well as they are to everything, everything. So I've got to feel comfortable. I want them to feel comfortable in being able to reveal everything. Physically, you might cry, piss, shit, vomit, all of that. And I need to know that if I do that, you're going to be cool with that. And if you're in a group with loads of people, some people screaming, some people shouting, you're in a space where you need silence. You just got to know how to navigate that. So I've felt that after navigating alone a few times and you work the mushrooms out for yourself, so to speak, you're more equipped to deal with groups and larger groups. So me personally, in my circle of people, it might be like 4 to 6 people. That's like what I feel, cool with, and those are going to be like my folks, my people, so to speak. Whereas I've been involved in circles where they've got, 12. I was in the Netherlands not too long ago, although it wasn't mushrooms. I witnessed a group taking ayahuasca, and there's about 100 people in the room, and I was like, this is not something that I would be like. Yeah, I'm not. That's not me. Yeah, like I
You
want
didn't
I
get
want to be
down.
want to be triple 100.
You didn't get down. You wasn't 101. You didn't get down.
No, man. I'd rather take my dose and be the one, be the Neo in my realm. Yeah, not the
Word.
100 monks.
Me personally, I have sat for like a group, and I think that maybe like for every four people, there should be at least one sitter. If there's gonna be a group trip, it's got to be, especially if it's a bunch of beginners. And a jewel I picked up from Mama Ayana is everybody's got to go in on the same dose. Like I seen that where I sat and everybody went on different doses, and then I've been in a situation where everyone went in on different doses. So the one that I sat for, the person 4 grams I think was the top, 4 or 5 grams was the top, but then it was all somebody. It was somebody in there who was like on 2.4. Somebody was on like I don't think nobody was under 2, but there was just different increments like of. And to me now, after I talked to Mama Ayana, and then I was in a group where boom, Amsu was at 12, I was at 10, somebody was at 8, somebody was at 5, somebody was at 7. That's a lot of aircraft flying around in the same area at different heights. And it's best that all the birds, you, fly at the same altitude. So if you're going in my opinion, and just from my personal research so far, if I come back and see something else, I'll tell you. But I want everybody going in on the same joint, and I'm really co-signing like Darren said. Oh, it's only my peoples. You a stranger? I don't really know like your background and stuff like that. I sit for you. I don't have to go with you. Nah, it's all good. I catch you. I catch you in a minute because I do like the alone myself. You know what I'm saying? My own experience, and it's like I'm always getting like frisk. It's like when I'm like you coming through TSA, they want to when you come through the airport, they like hold your hands over your head, and it's like,
Right.
are you bringing anything additional on this journey that is hazardous for this journey? That's liquids, explosive, knives, guns, things like that. And so for me, it's like at some point I get scanned because I've tried to record the audio of me tripping like 4 times. And when I go through this TSA, they're like, man, cut that shit off. Cut it off. They was like, this is not something you're gonna bring back. You only gonna bring back what you can bring back. So turn that off. And I'm like, and I'm so obedient, I'm like, okay, let's just turn that off. They was like, now turn the whole phone off. I was like, I'm sorry. I turned the whole phone off. You know the rules. I'm sorry. So ain't nothing wrong with y'all apologizing, you know what I'm saying, for your error with the mushrooms. Raymond has a question. He says, have you mixed strains, and if so, did it give you a different experience than a single strain?
Yeah, I couldn't explain it in detail, but yeah, my experience now, I've done a lot of mixing. Just I'm an alchemist, man. So yeah, different strains. They come in edible form. Sometimes they come organic, and I'm like, all right, let me see what happens.
On the same trip?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Wait a
So
minute,
a
you
perfect
said that too
example
eagerly. You
is,
said that too eagerly. You was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna need some like. Wait a minute. So you're saying that you took some chocolate of this particular flavor, and then you took this strand. Maybe you ate it raw, and then you had some truffles. I mean, tell us one story or something. Yeah, I need an example.
so a hypothetical situation in a place where it would be legal to do this.
Yes.
It's like, like it might be a group setting where there's like 4 to 5 people there. We've all agreed to do 4 to 5. We've agreed on that dosages, and then as we're individually getting into our individual as well as group experiences, some of us know that we just want to push the boundaries, and it might be like, oh, there's none of that left. That's how simply it could be. Like, there's none of that left, but we've got some of this, and this could be it could be totally aligned with the technology that you're working with, or there could be something else, like that come from the same family of tryptamines, let's say at least, but may not be the same technology per se. And it's like, at first, I wouldn't have approached it like that. but sometimes it just happened organically. And after trying and thinking, wow, certain things lined up differently, I didn't neglect the fact of mixing under controlled circumstances, so to speak, like might be fruitful. So it could be
Mm.
a like, example where some people I know, like they would start with MDMA and then they open up because they might be having a dialogue. They might be doing some kind of family group communing. MDMA is good for that, open up dialogue and conversation and stuff. And then they start chewing on the mushrooms or drink a mushroom tea or something. And then towards the end of the night, maybe they're like, look, I still got loads of energy and hey, there's some DMT there. So, those kind of nights,
Hypothetically,
hypothetically, yeah,
if you was in some place that was legal,
definitely.
and if the people that were there had it on and they were willing to share.
Yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah, man. And it's your
Wow.
folks, and and yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah, man.
Whoa. Boom. Joker's one. This is why you got to take the grow class. Look how Joker's trying to get a free class. Y'all see some? Y'all see Ross trying to get a freebie? He trying to get a freebie, man. Do you need the same lights to grow ganja to grow shrooms, like high pressure sodium, ceramic metal, or LED?
No,
No. Low tech. Now,
low tech
hold on,
mushrooms
hold
don't
on, hold on.
require any like.
Before Darren give you too much of the answer, you need to go sign up for the class and then come back and then we'll give you some more. But nah, Dan, go ahead, D. Drizzle on them a little bit. What you want them to have?
Yeah, man. No, just mushroom cultivation in general. If you just observe mushrooms in nature, they naturally grow in shady, with areas with minimum direct sunlight. And that's pretty much what they require for the pinning and the fruiting stage. They don't require much light or a lot of light, and they definitely don't require artificial light unless you are somewhere where you're in total darkness, triple thick darkness. And even
Mm-hmm.
then, you'll be surprised that they will still reproduce themselves. They may not be as healthy and as vigorous as those that have been nurtured correctly, but you realize that mushrooms actually don't need any light to grow. I've grown them accidentally in total darkness, ones that have been left to their own devices and left in total darkness, and you come back and there's mushrooms growing, just like there was no light. You're in a box in a room that's dark, no lights, and like there was no light, and mushrooms are still trying to grow.
No indirect light.
No indirect light, no direct light, no light, no light.
Oh, so I'm just bugging that. Oh, I must give them at least 2 hours of indirect light every day.
If they're in a space where there's natural indirect sunlight, that's always going to be enough, for your home setup, the setup that you've got to go. Now, if we're talking about enterprise and, growing, yeah, that's a different thing. But I'm talking about home growers, yeah, man, so whatever room you're in, as long as you haven't got 360 degrees windows, so to speak, normally you just put it under your window. If you're restricted in space, like get it out of the direct sunlight in that room, wherever it is, and find an area that gets the least amount of light. That's the area that I direct people towards. Because what that's going to do is they're going to get the light, and it's not going to be as warm because they want the temperature to drop. So when they get in the light, it's going to get warm, so you want the temperature to drop. And it's going to allow the humidity and moisture to be in there. It's not going to dry out. So, it's just like, again, but everyone's homes are different. So you just got to kind of be creative in space. Some people live in a basement and they're like, yeah, I don't have windows and shit. So then you may want to bring in some lighting. LED lights work, and you don't have to get the high end grow lights like you would for growing ganja, as I understand it. I've never grown that.
I think that was a good question because we just gonna tell it like it is. The entheogenic mushroom game is gonna be, in my opinion, bigger than the cannabis game, right? Um, Especially when the more research and discoveries are done, right? And so a lot, just business, a lot of cannabis people are like, yo, I'm switching over and I'm bringing my equipment over here and I'm gonna do it like this. So they're bringing some of their habits. They're bringing the 12 hours of light versus 12 hours of darkness. They got the timer on and they're coming and then they're coming and making videos. But you know what they're making videos for? to for marketing. They want you to click on their link. You know what I'm saying? I was big in the weed game. Now I'm in the mushroom game. You need to put the timer on the light. You need to do this and you need to do that. You need to do this and you need to do that. I just be like, bruh, no, because I have definitely seen that same thing where low tech king here. I'm not even low tech king. I'm like a low tech citizen scientist guy walking around the village. Just be like, yo, where them joints come from? You know what I'm saying? Or how did that happen? I ask myself that a lot. How did that happen? How did that happen? That's really how you're gonna learn is if you're looking at what's happening and say, yo, how did that happen? That's the only
Yeah.
way it's gonna happen.
Once you realize that you don't grow mushrooms, you know, you cultivate, you nurture, you just support them in. It's like you don't grow your children. You know, it's like they grow themselves. And the best thing you can be as a mycologist, a cultivator, is an observer.
Mm,
It's all about observation, and that's something that
mm,
this generation in particular, you know, we've not been trained to do. We've got short attention spans and all that ADHD type stuff. They give us now these letters and titles. So in essence, you know, we don't have the time to start observing the stars like we once did, to look at how, as you would know, brother, more than I would, where Taurus is and where this is. How long did it take for them to observe that those motions and pass that information and data on and stuff? So it's like that's what we are. My body should just observing processes, how the mycelium runs, how the spores do their job in a syringe. You know, you can observe that, and then you can observe, you know, the growth or the colonizing of the substrate, and start seeing for yourself. Ah, when I get a run, when the mycelium looks like this, I get healthier looking mushrooms, and that's something that when the people show you the pictures on the internet, it's not the same as when you grow it yourself and see the ones that you're growing. And maybe, like myself, at times, just have them in the bed next to you. You know, when you're sitting down, space to put them in the bed next to you, and like that's the first thing you wake up and see in the morning. You know, and how far they've stretched across the substrate.
mm, mm,
It's a lot of
mm.
observation. It's a lot of observation.
I was about to just show no snitch on myself. Well, I don't care. Let me just. So I'm big on, like I said, like energy. So if there's like peace and harmony, I feel that the mushrooms are going to pick up peace and harmony, and then when I take them, they're going to bring me, get me to that place. They're not going to just wait until I set the intention right the night I'm about to do it. They've been watching me since I inoculated the jars, so they've been in the crib for 6 weeks, seeing what's happening, right? So Kalinde was like, "Yeah, you could take them and inoculate them." I said, "Where do you keep them?" He said, "Top of your closet or under your bed." Now I do a lot of spiritual investigation during sleep with like magical amulets and talismans and things like that under my pillow. I probably could do a whole class about when you get a magical amulet, keep it under your pillow for 7 days. When I got this ring up under the pillow for 7 days, got this ring under the pillow for 7 days, noticing the difference, right? And I was just like, what if I put these mushrooms under the bed? And then I thought about, at that time, I had a very sexually active girlfriend. So I was like, can I share these mushrooms with anybody? if I, if if they sat under my bed in the jars for 6 weeks to turn white, and my girlfriend was really, really happy with me, Darren. You know what I'm saying? She was really happy with me during those 6 weeks. And we already know that they're picking up the vibrations around the house. Like, I'm right upstairs. Like, they downstairs, I'm right upstairs. Not, like, I don't mean like go up the steps. I mean like I'm right upstairs, they're right downstairs. We're harmonizing and doing things like that. Y'all see my shirt on that I have. You know what I'm saying? Y'all go check out Semi Sex on Instagram. I was like, man, can I share these? Um, could I call those sex mushrooms? Could they be tantric mushrooms, Darren? What do you think about that? Should I keep should I keep that batch to myself, or should I share with some friends?
Oh, brother, do you know what's happening? The line's cutting up, man. It's chopping up. What was that last part?
if I had some mushrooms in the jar
Yeah,
before I put them in the fruiting
yeah,
chamber, and I was waiting for them to turn
yeah,
white, and me and
yeah,
my girlfriend were having a good time right above the mushrooms, and then I put them in the fruiting
yeah,
chamber, should I keep all those mushrooms to
yeah.
myself, or should I share those mushrooms with, some friends and family members, and call them tantric sex mushrooms?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I definitely tell you, getting where you fit and how you feel. I definitely, um, yeah, like I'm all for gifting and sharing. And as you know, you were talking at the beginning, brother, about lineage and where they come from and how they've been cultivated and nurtured. So I would definitely want to share them with the queen, at least, or the sister, and see,
Mmm,
to
mmm.
see, we've been, basically the Wi-Fi, the modem been picking up, and stored some data, I guess. And it might filter through in the experiences. So, if collectively you both sampled those and maybe revisited the things you were doing
Mm,
above them initially, let's see what happens when they're inside of you.
mm, mm. Love so much, brothers, open-minded to shamanic medicine. We don't understand. We trying to figure out where the closed-minded brothers at. Y'all ain't took enough. Why y'all closed-minded to shamanic medicine? But yeah, that's what we out here doing, bro. Is we want, um, we want to put a face, and we're not afraid to put a black face, a brown face, a melanated face on what is happening right now, because this is, Darren, you're on the, what's the board you're on at the Breaking Convention? Like the inclusion, aren't you on the inclusion board or the diversity for Breaking Convention?
No, 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 definitely not that. I'm just on the Breaking Convention committee, and what I support is the Pan African Forum. There's different forums within the Breaking Convention, and myself and Kalindi were invited to speak on the diversity panel or forum within the Breaking Convention. So I'm at Breaking Convention. I'm on the committee and represent the Pan Africans.
Hmm. Hmm. How did?
So
Yeah.
I curate the Pan Africans. I'm the person that's involved in inviting the speakers over or organising the forum, getting the people to the place and from the place and everything in between.
Yes, but
So
it
that's why
wasn't.
you would have seen Kalinde after his first time to the breaking convention. That's where I met him as a punter. After that, I'm like, all right, let me go and open some doors and see how we make sure things kind of move more swiftly for you moving forward. And that was the breaking convention was, one of the very few people that opened their doors, in all honesty, to allow that to happen. Like, look, here we go. Here's a space. Here's a place, and go for it. And, we've
Mm.
had some challenges, but it's allowed us to spread the cause nonetheless.
Mm, that's always been your strategy too. When you talk about humans or citizen scientists spreading the spores, what do you mean? What do you mean? We already talked about this ancient aliens, and now you want to spread the spores. What you talking about, bro?
Okay, spreading the spores. Bear with me. All right, I've got somebody. I'm just sending a message because there's people. Brother, how do I share this thing? How do I share this on Facebook or?
Go to my Facebook page. Go to my Facebook page and share. So find me
Okay,
on
okay.
find,
Let me
find
just.
me on Facebook, and you'll see it broadcasting there. And then just hit share from my page, and it'll go to your page. Big shouts out to everybody on Facebook who has already done that. Press 2 if you've already shared the video. Don't hate. Celebrate. Break bread. Yeah, spread some
Okay,
spores.
I'm
Every
back.
time when you share this video, you're spreading spores. Go ahead, Darren. What you mean when you say spread the spores?
Welcome. Spitting game, spitting game. On behalf of the mushrooms. And we
Mmm.
do that literally. Is in spitting the knowledge and wisdom that they've imparted or I've learned, and others do, or literally spreading the spores in the sense of teaching people how to cultivate, man, and getting more cultivators out there, just getting the technology into people's consciousness, inoculating the minds, colonizing the minds, and allowing the fruit to fruit. So it's just like a metaphor, a play on words, but at the same time, it's a literal, practical thing that I do with that, as well as knowledge based as well, man. Just spitting the knowledge. That's spreading the spores, man. Just like if you was to make a mushroom spore print and you gifted someone, you're spreading the spores. The screen's frozen on me, bro. Have you hearing me or?
Oh yeah, are you still coming through loud and clear? You loud and clear.
Okay, let me close this stuff.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on, brother. We know you busy. You know what I'm saying? But you got to make sure your substrate is even, brother. So your pins will come up straight. You can't just be having a whole bunch of stuff going on and your pins ain't coming up straight. By no means am I, trying to coach this brother. This is, like I said, this is a legend y'all on here looking at. He may not be no expert, but he will be. He is a legend, living legend, and we're gonna give him his flowers while he's here. So, yeah. Does anybody else got any more questions from the audience? The recap, man, on mushrooms built the pyramids. We got all the way from that subject right there. That technology about, why would they build something in that shape in the middle of nowhere?
Bro, I just caught you at the end, man. I'm having the sound is cutting up, man. Real bad my end. Repeat one more time.
I said I wanted you to give us a recap of the video of the mushrooms built the pyramid that you did on Kush TV, and what can people expect, or like what was the basis of that message one more time, because we just had some people that just came in, and then that can get maybe back to the alien ancestors.
Yeah, man, because as we all know and was taught, aliens built the pyramids, didn't they?
Yes.
So, when I watch all those documentaries on the Sci-Fi Channel and all that, and they're like, it's a mystery who built the pyramids, and a lot of the conclusion always says the aliens built the pyramids, and then there's some truth in that, but at the same time, they don't want to give credit where credit is due. So, from my understanding, it was the combination of the human technology alongside the organic alien technology that arrived to Earth by way of, as we looked earlier on, that the phenomenon known as panspermia arriving to Earth via meteorites and comets and planets and other objects that we would find in space, and eventually getting into our environment. These organisms carry data and information with them. Stored there, just like we store data and information, just like a carrot does, just like an orange does. Stores information and data. Plants store it, mushrooms store it. So spores store information. It's like a seed. You've got a tomato seed or an orange seed. Inside that seed is information. There's a little baby plant with information inside. It's got food. It's got everything it needs to create and start its existence. There you go. It's technology. Yeah. So this technology that arrived, alien technology that arrived, what we need to understand when I refer to it being ancestors, not just because we eat mushrooms and what it done or supported us in was getting access, magic mushrooms in particular giving us access to realms where we could glean this type of information from, start looking at or preparing to build anything, let alone a pyramid. Like how do we build? And as I mentioned, as we look at swings and roundabouts, slides, all of these inspirations came from somewhere. And it's no different to the technology that you find in ancient Kemet, as you mentioned, ancient Mexico. You go throughout the continent and you find these ancient developments, and there is definitely a connection, whether you look at the Olmecs, whether you're looking even in Europe, that they've got this relationship with mushrooms, affinity with mushrooms in these same cultures, and they have the same branding that you find in ancient Kemet, you find it in Mexico, you find it in India. It all ties in with the opening of the mouth ceremony, find in ancient Kemet. When you would take the technology, you would plug in the USB, you could plug in the and you plug it into the computer and start processing or downloading
A live stream, as I was talking to my brother earlier on, it's like when you're in this space, you're getting a live stream. Get a live stream. And your job is to learn one, maybe how to slow the stream down, maybe how to download files, and not only download the files, but you need to store them in your hard drive. So then you can access them later in your day-to-day 9 to 5, walk of life, so to speak. And these ceremonies and practices are what our ancestors gleaned and learnt from the mushroom realm. And this is why our ancestors built this technology and built and developed the things that they were able to do. Not only mushrooms, but DMT, blue lotus. We had our own version of ayahuasca, which was known as the tree of life. The acacia tree, if anybody's familiar with the acacia tree, is a DMT containing tree. That was the holy tree of ancient Kemet, like many other places. So the technology was in the plants and the mushrooms, according to our ancestors. If we're looking at Asian Africa, we understand that originally that technology came by way of not this space as far as the solar system, not our solar system. And why we're connected to it or it's embedded in us is simply because life forms on Earth as we know it today wouldn't exist without mushrooms. We're not just talking about the psychedelic mushrooms, we're looking at, as you might be familiar, like the mycelium. When these spores arrived from space and landed on their crafts in Earth or docked or crash landed in some cases, somewhere into the oceans, because we're a water planet, but the Earth wasn't always lush and green. We live in a bedrock, a rock planet. That's why we deal with minerals and stuff and why we find. So when these spores eventually became what they became, as far as they were the first living organism to make it out of the water onto land. Mushrooms are the first living organism out of the water onto land. What these guys are naturally are decomposers. They break down organic matter as we know it today, and they make new soil. They help to create healthy soil. But what happens if you arrive on a planet and there is no soil? There's just rock. So as creators, they created soil on our behalf. Not only so, they allowed for the first life out of water after themselves to then start connecting with land. So that's where we get the first soil being created by mushrooms. They ate the bedrock and pooped out the other end soil. They allowed the first primitive plants to grow. But this all took place because of the mycelium network that basically became the neurological system of the planet that allows everything from the plants and the various organisms within the soil, including us, to communicate. Our central nervous system, mycelium, we start lining them up, we start seeing as above, so below, as within, so without. We talk about coming from the soil and going back to the soil, as I could just see there, manna from heaven, all of that good stuff, man. So in the mythology, experience science shows that it's there that our ancestors are unearthly, and they came in many forms, many shapes. They were not human initially; we became human. So I look at it like the mushrooms have basically prepared us for this experience, and it's a technology that is a complementary technology to our natural system because we came from the soul, we came from that same network that the mushrooms created in the first place. So yeah, I see you got it up on the screen. I see you now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what we're showing is the ease. We're low tech. This not even on the. This is not even the what do you call that? This is not even the dark web. This is just regular internet. I just typed in mushroom. I just typed in mushroom hieroglyphics, right? So we encourage y'all to also do do more homework than you were doing before. That's really what we're trying to get y'all to do. Do more homework than you were doing before, and there's nothing wrong with you exploring with folks
Go
that
back a
look.
step. Go back to that screen again.
Say less. Which one?
I heard a brother earlier on was talking about ganja, and if we look there, the one shashet,
Is this the one I'm on or to the left? This one.
so the bottom right one, and there you go. Can you pick that up? There you go. So that's shashet. She in the Egyptian or Kemetic system, she's the consort of Tahuti or Thoth. Yeah, we all know Thoth or Tahuti as the god of wisdom, the scribe, where we get the Hermetic principles from. This is his
Okay.
consort. When you get into the mythology, you'll find out, into some perspectives, that Tahuti gains his wisdom from his consort, Sheshet. who actually is the one who whispers the wisdom into his ear,
What?
and he's the one who writes it down and is the messenger and delivers that. But the wisdom is Sheshet. And then according to those of us in the community, they say when you look on her head there, you see that she has what's considered by some a representation of the marijuana or the ganja plant, cannabis. That's her medicine. And that when you get into the Lanter on a deeper level, as well as the Anunnaki, if you deal with the Sumerian mythology, they all correspond with various plants, especially psychoactive plants. And yeah, so that's just, I threw that one in there. Oh yeah, cannabis is mentioned, yeah, so she's all ties into all of that. So all the CBD, THC crew, this is the goddess, the Asian chemic that, you know, corresponds with all of that.
Sachet. That's how you pronounce it. Sachet. Is that how you pronounce it? Sachet. Can you hear me? Mic check.
Yeah, Shashat. Yeah, and I'm from London, England. It's the only language I know, so I do the best I can.
No. I got it. I got it. See what happens? And look at the dragon. Look at the dragon right there in front of it. Boy, I like that right there. Somebody was asking like, where are the Anunnaki mushrooms?
Once again, the Anunnaki, if you go into the Sumerian and you even see how they're depicted with the mushroom head or the penis head or the dick head, as I mentioned earlier on. You know, they got the, yeah. So it's no different from if you guys are familiar with John Allegro and his teachings of Jesus being a mushroom. It corresponds with all of the systems, you know, Shiva, Vishnu, Buddha, and Enki, Enlil, or so, you know, whatever system you're dealing with, a lot of it you can start tying in with. You know, they all wear these mushroom hats and penis heads, so they are the mushroom. They're symbolic. You access them through taking the mushroom, as I understand it. That's how you access the Anunnaki. As well as the Natir, as well as the Orisha and others.
Boy, it's a lot of religious people out here that don't like you, man. You ain't really, because you're not passing around the plate. You you out here giving them straight science. Straight science.
What's really good about this though, bro, anybody who's open-hearted in their religion, man, this just enhances your religion. You know, this is what I've learned I've dealt with some religious folk who deal with this art, and, you know, they meet Jesus, man. They meet Muhammad, they meet, you know, don't get it twisted, man. You know, and it enhances their relationship with their religion. It gives them a perspective and an understanding that, you know, Jesus or, you know, the Islamic religion or Judaism, you know, I've dealt with people who are still religious, still within their religions, but deal with its psychology. And it's only enhanced their relationship with their religion. They understand it, you know, they understand it for what it's worth. See that one there? Look at his head. Look at his head, brother. Can you make that big?
This one?
Yeah, the one to the right. Look at his crown. What does it look like?
Hold on. Let me see. Can I blow this joke up? Looks like a penis, like a turban.
Yeah. So all of the technology, because the technology is influenced in the clothing too. And this is what teaching what, you know, Kalinde inspired and opened up the door, and then I'll just dig wherever I can dig as well. So it's no different from the skull cap that you would find in the church that the Pope or the cardinals wear. This is all tied in. That's the mushroom cap too. They actually put it on a stand, as you may remember when I spoke on, you know, the talk in church. Put it on a stand called the little mushroom. You know, so this connection between mushrooms and the phallus and the breast and the womb are very much connected in the mythology as well as the symbology.
All right. Look, folks, just study. Just all we want you to do is just start typing in different words, especially if you type in mushroom Jesus. If you type in mushroom Jesus now, you know, we're going to definitely see what kind of Christian you are. Look at that. Good Lord. Oh, mushroom Jesus?
You know, so that's one of the famous books there, The Sacred Mushroom and The Cross by John Allegro. That's another one there. That's is that the Jerry Brown one as well there? The art, yeah. Oh, that's the John A. Rush one. Yeah. So there's a few of them. John A. Rush, John Allegro, Cole P. Ruck, and Jerry Brown and his wife. I can't remember his wife's name, which I lost at
Oh,
the moment.
something about, I don't know if it's psychedelic art or something like that. I let somebody borrow mine. Jesus was a mushroom. J.P. Holden. Woo.
So, I'm often asked, do you believe Jesus is a mushroom? Do you really believe Jesus is a mushroom? And I'm like, I really believe that you're a mushroom, man. We're all mushrooms. We're just here, doing the mushrooms bidding, basically. If people are familiar with Terence McKenna and his stoned ape hypothesis, which looks into how the mycelium and psilocybin experience taken by the early African people would have influenced their psyche, the development of the brain, and their experiences in that interacting with their environment, and has played a key part in humans' evolution. If you're dealing, if you deal with that, so to speak.
Mm.
And so there's a lot there, bro. There's just a lot there as far as the role that this technology has played. When you look into the role of mycelium, you've got different types of mycelium. Yeah, you've got mycelium that colonizes or decomposes its substrate. Will break down the log. You've got mycorrhizal fungi that works within the soil and works with plants. But then you've got the different aspects of that. You've got ones that connect with the root system, so they connect like a Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. And then you've got mycelium, check this out, bro. You've got mycelium that can penetrate the cell walls of plants and other organisms, and the mycelium wraps itself around individual cells of plants. It takes over the organism, and not in a detrimental way to supporting it in becoming a better version of itself, so to speak. So with that said, we have those organisms inside of us, and if that's what it does with plants, and we're from the soil in the same way, I've got no doubt about that without having the science to back it up. But what's amazing is that we do have scientists that are looking into this stuff that will say that the central nervous system basically like functioning like mycelium functions, like
Mm. Mm.
all of that type of stuff, man. So like we are a mushroom, man. Whether we, the blueprint of what makes mushrooms, we're birthed out of that, or we come from that. So we understand that, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Have you do you have any students or people that have inquired from you about women taking mushrooms while they are pregnant?
I've had quite a few people inquire to me about that. And I point them in the right direction to the sisters who deal with that, who are experienced in that field. It's like, man, all I can do for you is repeat what they told me. But you're better off going direct. So people like, Sister Ayana, Sister Omalewa, or sisters, on the circuit that I know share this type of information. I've met people in Jamaica. I know there's people in Trinidad, our people that deal with this technology and out there sharing. But as you know, it's like so taboo still such a like, is it safe? Is it something I should be doing? And people don't publicly speak about it. So this is some of the data going back to this whole thing that we could and should be, collecting to just be able to share that, there's a sister who, was microdosing over, from conception, conceiving, all the way through, and we looked into that. And the best that I can do is direct the sisters to the Ayanas and the Omalewas and the sisters who deal with the technology, man. But
Yeah,
as I understand, culturally and from ancient right through, it's part and parcel of our, of our culture, of our way of life. All of that women, microdosing or partaking during pregnancy, post, during and post, uh, pre, during and post pregnancy, and allowing the children to microdose coming through the breast milk and those kind of things there, man.
mm. I, at times I wish that I would have had a child when I was like in my 20s. So now at 50, I would have a like 25-year-old or a 30-year-old child, or even a 20-year-old child if I had a child when I was 30, right? But I wasn't doing mushrooms. Like mushroom wasn't in my semen. Mushroom wasn't in my mycelium wasn't in my system. And I
Mm.
found out in 2012 that unless you do a special type of cleanse, the the debris of cocaine will stay in your system your entire life. So I hadn't done cocaine in like 20 years. And the brother was like, "Yo, unless you've done this type of cleanse, that debris is still in there. Even though you haven't done it, you don't have a desire for it." So me, I just flipped that, and I'm like, "Yeah, baby would be nice right now because I know one, Kalindi's granddaughter is a mushroom baby, and she's smarter than me and you put together, and she's 5. She's 5. She just had a birthday. She can tell you like all the regions of the brain. She can be playing with a baby doll and you just quiz her on the regions of like what the top of the brain does, what it's called scientifically, what the back of the brain is,
Yeah,
what it does. This when she was 4. This was I ain't talked to her in a little while. This when she was 4. She was like, yeah, and she was talking to Dr. Jared. She was talking to a world-class gynecologist telling him about the brain. So I look forward. You know.
yeah. Well, as they say, time isn't. I mean, age is nothing but a number. Time. So you're just, there's still time.
Yeah, and it's saying wisdom should come from the mouths of babes even faster if it's a mushroom baby. The mushroom baby, it's gonna come a little faster.
Yeah, well, we need to experiment, bro.
We need to experiment. What she taught, I don't know. I don't know how she got it, but I don't know any 4-year-olds who even retain that. If somebody did teach it to her and she retained it, somebody told me that when I was in high school or college, I didn't retain it. She's 4. That's the part I'm talking about. So like, hold on, where my joints at? I can't front on that. And if she was taught, big shouts out to whoever was like, "Yo, this is a mushroom baby, and we're gonna teach her."
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I'm got a bad line again, innit? So I'm not sure if you.
No, I was just saying, big shouts out to the person who did teach her, who realized that her being a mushroom
Yeah,
baby is important, and they took the time to say, "Let me show you about, different levels of the brain." Well, look, y'all ain't gonna get all my brother's time tonight. It's about 9 o'clock. He's about to do. I know you an introvert. Sometimes you like to get your own time in, and it's time for me and my old ass to go get me a little small nap in at 50 years old. That's what I do. I take naps, and I got a full stomach now. I got a full mind. I want to, Darren, who you want to give a shout out to, brothers? I'll throw your website back up here. Who you got shouts out for today?
nice, bro. Well, I want to give you a shout out, man. Like again, like I said, I just appreciate you creating a platform, allowing me to come and spread my spores and building and doing what you're doing in the way that you're doing it. And big up the family and everybody that's supporting you and spreading the spores on the stateside. And anyone else who's tuning in, like the brother said, you can find me on my website, darrenlebaron.com. You'll find all the events and workshops and stuff that I'm involved in. And you've got access to my YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook links and stuff, man. And as you can see there, I've got the masterclass. That's an online master.
You froze up. You got to repeat that. You froze up. I know he's talking.
Download, you can tune in. Am I back in? So yeah, I'm just saying, yeah, you can check the masterclass, which is the online downloadable masterclass, and I also do online live courses, obviously, because we're in restrictions here in the UK about group gatherings. A lot of the stuff went online. So there you go. That's the pre-recorded downloadable class. And then I have the beginners class that I also deliver live along with that advanced pro workshop that we saw there.
I remember this picture, this setting when you were filming this. I remember when you were filming this right here, maybe about a couple of months ago. You had sent me a picture.
Yeah,
You didn't take the call because you was in the studio.
Yeah. It's a full-on day, man. A full-on day. So there you go.
Oh yeah, I may have to take this because I'm trying to. Oh, y'all like this. I've been thinking about having some classes over here in Atlanta, like just in the kitchen, because I need somebody to be growing some hen of woods and some oyster mushrooms and
All of that good stuff, brother. All of that good stuff, man. All of that good stuff, and that's where it starts in the kitchen, man. I don't know how many of us have got a lab, with laminar flow hoods and sterilizers and stuff. I don't know how many of us have got that, but I got access to a kitchen, man, and you can do this in the kitchen. You can grow your oysters, you can grow your hen in the woods, you can grow your key mushrooms, with just pots and glasses and reusable resources you might have at home.
There you go, y'all. Look at him. This is nice and professional right here, bro.
Yeah, man, I've got some cool people behind me supporting and spreading the spores, man. So yeah, man, you can see it should all look familiar to you there, bro.
Just a couple of them, couple of techniques.
Yeah, so that's me a few years ago in a growing project, yeah, man. Yeah, man, there you go. That's the dunking and rolling there.
Mmm.
So yeah, nice one, brother. Thank you for the share, for the light.
Oh man.
So yeah, that's how we used to get down, man. We'd have like 30 to 40 people in a room doing the workshop, all making their grow kits in the workshop, going home, with them, them little mushroom babies. But now it's all gone online, man. So this is the way to make it happen. So yeah, you can tune in this way. It's appreciated.
Big up, big up, big up, big up, big up.
I can see a question by Raymond, and what do you do if you don't have a laminar hood? You just work in your clean kitchen space, bro. You just get the kitchen as clean as possible. That's the first step. You create a space, a clean area, and just go in, get OCD on it. An alternative approach is to get you a little plastic container, storage container, like 80 to 100 litre in this over here, and then you can cut, 2 holes in it, like the size of a CD, and you can use that as like a real low-tech laminar flow hood, and you clean that out and spray, your detergent or your bleach or your alcohol inside it to keep that nice and clean, and put all your bits and pieces inside that storage container with the 2 holes in it that allow you to do the work inside. But like the brother said, man, if you are happy to support, jump on a course. But at the same time, man, you can go and you can do a quick Google and find out to make your own laminar flow with a glove box if you want. If you're kind of a handyman or woman, like to put like HEPA filters and fans and reverse filters and stuff like that. If you've got that in your toolbox, then you can make a real good glove box / laminar flow hood. So one of those ones there that you see might be a good £2,000, like the second screen. The ones that you would see in a surgery or a lab at a hospital. You can make some maybe like for a couple $100. If you know what you're doing, you can make your own. So there you go, man. And you can get as techie and nerdy with it as you choose to.
Yeah, she just wanted to get crazy right here. She had the time that day. I don't have this time to do like she's doing right here. I don't have that. I'm not getting ready to do all that. I'm not breaking out the ruler. Look how she's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna draw this out here in the graph. Nah, bro.
Yeah, so as I said, you can get as techie and nerdy with it as you choose, or you can keep it real simple. And I'll tell people there's nothing wrong at the same time with just having a clean space. I find a small space, my toilet, my bathroom, or I'm not sure what you would call it, where I go and urinate. I might not think is the cleanest space, but it's the smallest space that I can control in my space. So I can remove everything out of there, give things a good clean down, spray things down and clean it, and use the space as my lab and not have anything else but me and the tools that I need to do the work, to do the inoculation work. I don't need no containers, no laminar flow hoods.
Under $70, y'all. Under $70. What do you want to do? Right. And it depends on your.
So yeah, if you have a few tools laying around and you can put bits together, you can get really techy with it. You can start. I can see somebody come out adding fans, and I've got a homeboy. He just ran with this, man. He's like a techie. He's got all timers and settings, and he's gone for it. And I'm like,
go for it, man, because that's your technology. You know, you merge your technology with it. But if you're not built like that, if you don't know how to use a drill, you don't know how to use saws, don't think that you're going to be left out and you can't cultivate mushrooms if you don't have those tools or the laminar flow. That's what my workshop's really about. If you've got stuff at home and around you that you can use, that's what you use.
Mm. Brother said, yo, if you want to take this HEPA filter, but you want to build one for less than $30, bam. A box fan and an air filter. And voila. You in the building. And bam, what's that, Claire? Look at that. I'll take that all day. You back.
Yeah, I got thrown out. But yeah, brother, my connection's not too good. I don't know what's going on, man. So I'm ready to wrap it up if you are, unless there's anything else that you'd like to cover.
We had one more question. How do you feel about growing outdoors?
Yeah, man, I do some of that. You know,
How
we
do
do
you
the guerrilla gardening.
say
You
that
know,
again?
that's. I said, yeah, I'm for that. So, you know, just to keep in mind, I grow all types of mushrooms. I'm a food grower by day. You know, I grow food and mushrooms. So I grow oysters, shiitake, you know, all of that. So yeah, I do outdoor mushroom cultivating, and you know what you're doing then. It's a different type of experience in cultivating because you're really working with nature. You know, you're working with the cycles of nature when it comes to doing your grow and stuff like that. Whereas indoors, obviously, you're God. You're controlling the environment, so to speak. And outside, you know, God does his work. So
Mm.
yeah, it's two different experiences, and I really encourage people to do, you know, give it a go. Whether you're just growing your gourmet and medicinal mushrooms, or whether you find, like somebody mentioned, the pansinuses that are good for outdoor growing, that you can grow on wood chip and stuff like that. If you can find that in a place where you can legally do that, I would encourage you to experiment. You know, and you know, like you can work with wood chip, you know, and sawdust, and create little spawn for yourself before you distribute it. You know, wherever it needs to be distributed. It's real. There's some real simple low tech to enable you to do that.
Y'all asking a lot of questions here, but y'all ain't telling me that y'all signed up for the class. I'm just telling you, you get all this in one place. After the cakes turn other than white, where you toss them into the garden. That's a little technical right there. Me, is it green? If it's not green, then I might not want to toss it yet. And if I
Yeah.
haven't gotten, and if I haven't gotten, you know, 2 or 3 flushes out of it, then you know, that's the one thing I like about this question is the mushrooms will let you know if you're treating her right. If you don't treat her right, she's not gonna produce. She much like your wife.
Mm.
She's not gonna produce. That's why she did me. She treats me like we're in a relationship. I do right, she be like, okay. I don't do right, she be like, maybe you don't get this. So that's my joint right there.
Okay, so yeah, dark green, as I can see, is mentioned there. That's likely to be penicillin mold, and yeah, that's not your friend. And that, yeah, that goes out onto the compost heap into your garden. Gift it back to nature. Allow other organisms to take advantage of it because that, you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure. That type of stuff. So, you
Mm.
know, I gift it back and allow other organisms to take
If,
advantage of it.
if I don't have a compost heap, can I just like spread it around the edge of my yard?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. You know, it's organic matter. It's eventually going to decompose and become soil again. You know, or food for the soil.
Mm.
You know, so you know that's what nature is able to do. It does it without us even asking it to or thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, depending on where you are located, you know, and if you've got that outdoor space, yeah, just if you've got a compost bin, heat, get it in there. If you've got a garden area or in nature, you've got a local park that's not too, you know, when you walk past, you can say, "Do you know what, I'm gonna keep this tree."
Right, right,
You know,
right.
so yeah, getting where you fit, man. And if you feel you just want to throw it in the trash, just throw it in the trash.
Right. Y'all stop being so perfect. Because trying to be so perfect is analysis paralysis. You got
Mm,
analysis paralysis, now you're overthinking the situation and you're not being a scientist. You're sitting there trying to figure the whole thing out when the
mm,
helping hand you're looking for is at the end of your own arm. It's okay to grow to grow some penicillin every now and then. As long as you keeping track of what happened. What happened in this? You know what I'm saying? Like One thing I really am not doing is I'm not journaling what is happening. I'm not journaling like day by day, like boom, this produced this produced that. I'm looking at the whole experience basically and saying, okay, but I really need to start documenting sooner than later and saying, today this flush did this. Where was the moon at? Today this happened. There was an eclipse. Now a day later or 2 days later, here's a flush and the moon is in this sign because I'm an astrologer. You know, that's how, and that's how I record my data. My calendar is mapped out all the way to December 2021. I have every, what's that, 8 times 12. I have 96 moon phases already mapped out until December 2021 already.
That's what it's about, man. Complementing the technologies, man. What's in your toolbox. Yeah, man. That's how it goes, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, look, brother, we're getting ready to be up out of here. I love you
Cool,
like
bro.
cook food. Big shouts out to all my family in France, in the UK, Cambodia, all the entire continent of Africa, all the ancient aliens from Andromeda and the Sirius Star constellation and out past Pluto. Big shouts out to Nibiru. Big shouts out to the mothership where Elijah Muhammad is at. Big shouts out to, I want to say big shouts out to all my Sagittariuses and all my Scorpios. My astrological tip for psychonauts is right before your birthday is better than on your birthday. This whole thing about, on my birthday I want to do it. It's actually better those 14 days before your birthday is going to be that's the best time for you to receive because you're out of energy. When you on your birthday, you're filling up with energy. So the mushrooms got to compete with all the energy that you have in you right now. But you are empty. Why do you think people suggest that you fast before you take mushrooms? So you can empty out, right? So now you're fasting from food. You haven't had a birthday in 50 weeks. The psilocybin is going to have a playground to run through and it's going to reward you. And now you go into your birthday processing that discovery that you had. Those 2 weeks prior to your birthday is your Neptune period. So when you look at the metaphysical science of the planet Neptune, that is spiritual. That is the fog. That is enlightenment. Because once you cross over to your birthday, you're in the Mercury period. Mercury moves faster. Mercury is like quicker communication. But if you want that deep knowledge, go right before your birthday. Right before your birthday. Then wait a month. So now you can really see the difference. You're like, okay, it's 2 weeks before my birthday. Bam. Now it's 2 weeks after my birthday. Bam. So when should you start growing? 2 months before your birthday. 3 months before your birthday. So if you are a Scorpio, then you should be getting down in Virgo and Cancer. You got to go ahead and start getting ready. This thing, and I'm no expert. I just started 2 years ago. I'm 2.5 years in the game. I'm still wet around the mustache. I got milk around here. I'm calling Darren like, help. What do I do? Is this right? Boo, 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 boo. But it's my attitude. My attitude is giving me more success. My attempts is giving me more success than sitting around waiting for somebody else. Oh, well, brother, I don't have no mushrooms right now. What? Okay, well, that's cool. You ain't got none. That's okay. I know where to get some at from a trusted source. How about that? Going to give you shouts out again, bro. You gave me my shouts out, man. Who else you want to give shouts out to? Then we out of here.
Yeah, man, let's just keep it funky. We started here with the alien ancestors, man. So I was going to give out to all ancestors, known and unknown, that have been doing this, spreading the spores in all shapes and forms. Let's just big them up with an ashe, man. Ashe.
Ashe. Put some laughter in there on top of it. With some bells and whistles.
Cool.
All right, fam, we're gonna holler at y'all. Peace.
All right, peace, man.